and see many people already joined. What wonderful. I see some people's faces. Francesco, I see you there. Super. Okay. Our workshop today is being run as part of the EU-funded Horizon 2020 project DECIDE. And part of the scope of this project is to boost upscaling and replication of energy communities and collective actions, which is one of the reasons why we're here today. The other objective for today, and maybe Matteo, if you can start sharing some slides, is to really create a space where we can exchange knowledge, ideas, methodologies, share our experiences on the specific area of engaging with stakeholders to develop these collective energy actions and to overcome specifically regulatory barriers. My name's Jill Adams, and I will be your moderator today. I work for Prospects Institute, which is an organization specialized in stakeholder engagement, and it's a partner in the DECIDE project. So if we go to the agenda slide and we have a short look through that, I think we've just had a quick look at those objectives. Here's the agenda. You can see that we're here now in the welcome part. And after this intro, we'd like to give you a short overview of the DECIDE project and how it's approaching stakeholder engagement. And joining us today are 4 organizations, Domex and Heron, which are both based in Greece, TREA, which is the Tartu Regional Energy Agency in Estonia, and Kilometer Zero in Spain. And all of these 4 organizations are working very closely with the DECIDE project as pilots, as replicators, as partners. And they're going to be sharing an overview of their projects with us and how they've been engaging with relevant stakeholders to support their work. And we're not only going to do presentations today, we're going to then break into smaller groups. In fact, there'll be 1 group per organization or pilot to be able that we can have a more interactive knowledge sharing session before reconvening again at the end in the full group and wrapping up just before 2 o'clock Central European time. Maybe just a few housekeeping rules before we start. If we go to the next slide, thank you. Please do rename yourself so it's easy for others to know how to address you and which organization you represent. You can just click on your name in the participants list to do this, I hope, or ask for help to one of the hosts in the chat if that doesn't work. I suggest you keep yourself muted if you're not speaking and just use the reactions button on the bottom to raise your hand if you want to speak. Or use the chat box as well. We've got several people here from the project team who are supporting this event, and they'll be monitoring the chat box. And of course, please participate, and I hope that you will enjoy the session. So to kick off, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Lucia Rakocevic from the expert energy group Think E in Belgium. And Lucia is the project leader for DECIDE, and it's a great pleasure to have her here with us today. So Lucia, welcome.
Hello, Jill.
And
it's nice to be here.
Oh, super.
Welcome, everybody. We're really glad that we'll have this discussion today.
Yeah. I was wondering if you could maybe just start by telling us a little bit about the scope of DECIDE and why it was funded in the first place.
Sure. Thanks, Jill. I've seen many familiar names in the participants board here, but I will sort of briefly just explain the scope of DECIDE. So DECIDE is one of the projects that is dealing with energy communities and collective actions. So it has a bit of a wider scope, let's say, not just energy communities as defined by the directive, but also, let's say, community energy initiatives that exist out there. And DECIDE project is really trying to understand what is it with the existing initiatives that works and what we need to replicate in the future initiatives for, let's say, wider scale rollout of community energy.
Great. It sounds like you have a lot of work on your hands with this project.
Yes, we do, as you know, also. And I mean, for the stakeholder engagement there is a lot of different aspects, let's say, the DECIDE project looks into. And let's say one of those aspects is looking from the member point of view. So how do we engage new members? How different groups of people, let's say, react or become motivated to become part of the community energy. Then also we look at the other stakeholders that are involved for, let's say, successful business model, but also from the regulation point of view in different member states in Europe.
Okay, so engaging really with some important stakeholders there. If you look sort of maybe, you know, towards the end of the project, but it's almost halfway through now, what would that success look like at the end there, Lucia?
Well, we're really starting to talk about that and looking into, okay, what is it that will stay after Decide project, and what is the final goal of the Decide project? As it's been defined at the beginning, the goal of the Decide project is to figure out what is the, let's say, the framework that can encourage rollout of energy communities. But then if we try to quantify that, what do we want to have is that we want to really identify which are the specific, let's say, recipe in different aspects of community energy. So from user engagement, from the regulation, from the business models, from the contractual agreements and the legal point of view, also from the involvement of the other stakeholders to form a successful community energy. And that might be different in different parts of Europe as well. Of course, it's different depending on the regulation that exists in different parts of Europe as well, and how the European directives are transposed, or how, you know, the concept of energy communities is merged with the existing collective actions and community energy initiatives.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the challenges, you know, if you're creating this recipe, you know, do you have a lot of different recipes that we can all enjoy different meals, or is there one meal that we can all enjoy out of one recipe?
No, I think there is definitely different, you know, recipes for also different business models that you want to approach as energy communities, or community energy initiatives can be formed for different reasons. It can be for the reason of, you know, having a financial benefit or providing some support to the community that might not be financial, but might be social. So there is different reasons why energy communities are formed. Also within Decide, what we try to look into, because we have workshops like this, because we have webinars, because we have different partners that we can approach, we try to find some best examples. While maybe one example might not be, let's say, the best case in all aspects, we try to see which aspect of those can we highlight. And then we're looking also right now into providing this in some sort of, let's say, a publication that will come out at the end of the Decide project that will summarize the learnings of the project, and will hopefully be useful for, you know, the community out there that in different countries is starting to try to form community energies. And as you know, we do have the knowledge hub of Decide project, where we try already to put together some reports, media, everything that we can find from, not just from Decide project, but also from different projects and different initiatives that we're involved in, that people can maybe search and try to find some useful information. We also have the Energy Communities Hub, where you can search for different countries, how the regulation is adopting regarding the actual energy communities as defined by the European directives, and also collective self-consumption. So it gives, let's say, right now we're forming the pieces of the puzzle, but it's not there yet for sure.
Okay, and Valeria has very kindly put links to all of those resources that Lucia has just been telling us about in the chat. So you know, get clicking. Maybe not now whilst we're in the workshop, but as soon as the workshop's finished, go out and go and have a look at some of those amazing resources that are being developed as we speak and as the project goes on. Thank you, Lucia. So as the different recipes that you've talked about, I mean, we also, in terms of stakeholder engagement, I suppose there's sort of different recipes as well. You know, stakeholder engagement can mean something from, you know, informing, communicating, disseminating information at one end of the scale, and then to the other end of the scale, you've really got sort of co-creation processes together with stakeholders, where bring together a broad range of stakeholders, you know, not only experts, but citizens from all different walks of life, NGOs, associations, regulatory bodies, bring them together so to try to, co-create some of these solutions together, starting from a sort of shared understanding of people's different viewpoints, different opinions, different stakes that each of the relevant parties have. So how do we bring people together? How do we get the right people together at the table? And then once we got them at the table, how do you actually engage in some of these discussions where there are very, very different stakes out there? And so how can we engage in a discussion that leads to some of these more creative solutions, maybe more sustainable solutions? And I guess that's also some of the work that Decide is also trying and aspiring to.
Yeah, in my opinion, one of the strengths of Decide is also the initiatives that we have involved with Decide, as the participants will see and have a chance to engage with the 4 initiatives that we have here. You'll see that not just Decide pilots that started with our project that are partners, but also deciders who were initially meant to be, let's say, followers of our pilots. However, what we realize is that as with different conditions in the country, but also with the different conditions with the COVID pandemic, the different initiatives develop differently. So some go forward faster, some go slower. Then once we started involving, let's say, followers or replicants, they were more, let's say, initiatives that are out there that also our pilots can learn from, and they can learn from our pilots, because some of these initiatives have also existed for some time, and they're not necessarily only in the beginning, while the others might be only at the beginning. But I think if you look at all right now, we have 18 initiatives that are involved with the Decide. And if you look at all of them, it really shows the breadth of the differences that are out there with the existing collective actions and those that are trying to be energy communities in their member state. And that really comes back to the point that you mentioned, can we have one recipe? Yeah, you can have, we can put together the main points sort of that people need to pay attention to, which stakeholders you need to sort of get their feedback on, get in touch with. But then how these things are done indeed is a very local thing, and it's not one solution fits all.
Yeah, absolutely. And whilst it's as you say, a local recipe, no one solution fits all, there probably are some very key principles in terms of stakeholder engagement. How do we avoid just having sort of friends and supporters around the table? How do we reach out to a sort of broad group that I hope that will come out during our discussions today? And you've already talked, Lucia, about some of these key partners, if you like, the pilots, some of these replicators, and we've got the opportunity here today to hear from 4 of them. So, is there anything else that you'd like to add now to the group before we segue into hearing from some of the pilots?
No, I'm really excited to hear the discussion that we'll have today, and also in the separate groups.
All right.
And also, as I mentioned, I'm really glad to have all these people here and to see recurring faces with the Decide project. And I hope that we're really, putting highlights on some of the issues that people are facing on the ground.
Absolutely, and developing this community as well. Yeah. Okay, thanks very much, Lucia.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm very, very happy that you're able to make it today and with us today. So I think I'm going to hand over to my colleague Matteo Banzini from Prospects, who's going to introduce to us the 4 organizations that we're going to be hearing from over the next sort of 20 to 25 minutes. Matteo, please.
Thank you, Jill. And I just shared the screen, but then we will leave the floor to our colleagues and partners. As it was said in your short conversation, yes, we have the pilots from the Decide project, but also one of the decider, the replicants, and really the core of what also we are trying to do today, which is share a bit of the story from this project, but also with the aim to boost replication and really try to, if the project can help in one way or another your own local initiatives or projects, that'd be fantastic. So as you would mention before, we will hear from Heron, Kilometer Zero Energy in Spain, Third Regional Energy Agency in Estonia, and Domex. And I would like to leave the floor now to Thanasis first. I guess you will be able to share your screen, and we will hear first from Heron in Greece, Athens.
Hi, nice to be here. Thanks for organizing this event. We are always happy to participate. Let me share my screen first. Okay, I guess you have it right. Okay, so so we will be presenting, we're participating in this workshop, and we will present the perspective of a utility company, which is trying to reach out and create partnerships and collaborations with stakeholders. First of all, just to present you the screen out of my office, which is my house over the past 2 days in Athens. It may look natural to Estonia or other partners in the north, but this is what we are dealing in Athens the past 3 days since Monday. So let's back to Heron, to the presentation. Heron at a glance. Heron is a utility company which operates in a generation, electricity supply, and natural gas supply. As part of generations, we operate 2 gas power plants, one 147 megawatt open cycle flexible generator, and a 435 megawatt CCGT with a very high efficiency rate and cutting edge of the technology. As a supplier, we offer electricity to 270,000 clients. This makes a share of 6.8%, which is part of the 36.5% market share, which is shared by 20 licensed independent suppliers. So the other percentage is from the ex-monopoly utility. And as a natural gas supplier, we have set a target for 1 terawatt hour, and again, we're very good at achieving it, with almost 20,000 meters for the retail. As a company and as a group, we have values in sustainability and innovation. So we are very keen to promote renewable energy sources and link it with commercial products, and that's aligned with the group's sustainable strategy. As an innovation hub, we have been very keen on developing a whole, let's say, R&D unit within Heron, and participate in Horizon 2020 and national projects. Heron is part of Yekterna Group, which has been the leading construction and concessions and renewable energy company in Greece, with a portfolio across Europe. Most importantly, Terna Energy has almost at operation 1 gigawatt of renewable energy projects and licenses for 1.3 gigawatts, with the target for 25 of 3 gigawatt RES, and an investment, a 50% investment in a new CCGT plant. So now to focus on the topic, our view of an extrovert utility and how it differentiates from what people expect from a utility company by as they have dealt so far in their bills, right? So typically, a role of a utility company is to sell electricity and natural gas, and they engage with the public as a prospective or existing clientele and only. So as I've read somewhere in LinkedIn, is like with a derogatory meaning, of course, is like a utility is viewed as a machine where bills is its only outcome and output. How we view ourselves is that, of course, we have to sell electricity and natural gas, but we also want to be renewable. We want to bring renewable energy sources to our whole customer base through products that involve them. Because as I presented earlier, being part of Terna Energy and having all this renewable capacity, we want to bring it to the consumer. And we advocate that everyone can become a producer. However, we are very keen on building partnerships with clients and stakeholders, which may include energy communities and municipalities. So we view ourselves as a multi-focused entity. We pursue sustainability through innovation and stakeholder engagement. Just to give you some tangible examples, is that we want to achieve sustainability by pursuing innovation building partnerships. In terms of R&D commitment, we are developing and testing prototypes through pilots, which we can develop through our participation in the European and national projects. We are collaborating with universities and startups to foster innovation and market launch concepts by creating innovation ecosystems around us. And developing business model technological information to support the company's core business. Examples include smart metering and data analytics in order to unlock flexibility from consumers, and energy efficiency, of course, through personalized energy advice and dynamic tariffs. These are just some of the concepts that we have been developing as part of our R&D effort. Of course, in terms of building partnerships, it's very important for us to share and extend the knowledge that we are accumulating and the experience that we gain. So we're very keen to disseminate the R&D output by engaging with the municipalities and local communities. Just to give you an example, is as part of the Decide projects, we wanted to promote the Power Community game that ThinkE has been developing. And to do this, we reached out to municipalities, and we established a communication channels, because to go to schools, you have to pass through the municipalities. That's how the system is organized in Greece. And that allow us, by introducing ourselves to the municipality, we realized that they are also participating in Horizon 2020 projects, and they have a development and competent technical team. So we managed to find common ground and cultivate further collaborations through this idea that we had initially, that we want to go to schools and play the community game. So here, critical part is to identify common ground and align the business interests of the company with the stakeholders, and that allows us very comfortably to make the effort and invest resources, which of course nobody has them plenty. Another example is the special relationship that we have developed with Heron Hyperion Energy Community through the personal acquaintances of the Heron team, which was again further cultivated through our participation in Decide, because we realized that there is a great potential to actually use what we're developing or what our partners developing Decide in practice through this energy community in Greece, where we offer land in one of the OCGT plants, in our natural gas plants. We offer a small parcel for them to develop the photovoltaic asset as part of the energy community. And then also we want to expand the smart metering pilots by including generation monitoring from the renewable assets, and offer billing and net metering support. Here is a situation where we're very keen and very happy to support Hyperion in this journey to actually energize and build and develop and operate the PV. I think that was all.
Thank you very much, Thanasis, and it was brilliant. And you will find in the breaker room with Heron, and I guess we also have Marion in the call, the topic that will be in a way addressed and sharing that room will be on the extrovert utility. I would just ask you if you can stop sharing your screen so we can give the floor to Santi from Spain. He is one of the replicants linked to Decide, building on that relationship with the project, and I'll leave it to you, Santi.
Yeah, hello, thank you, and especially thank you for inviting us to talk about energy communities. Let me say that being a replicant is a kind of science fiction role. Huh? It's quite challenging to become a replicator. Let me say, yes, I was asked to, sorry.
If you can just unmute yourself, Santi, please.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. So I was told to introduce myself and the company. I suppose that the presentations will be available for the people, so I will not take your time in knowing who I am and my company, but just let me say that this is what we are talking about. Huh? I mean, is the big umbrella which covers all our activities. So forget about PV cells or any kind of physical activity, or this is the only relevant thing that we have in hands. Huh? Myself, you will read it, is a boring CV. And my company, we are a very small company. We are 10. The company was created in February 19. So 11 months later, there was a pandemic. 3 months later, there was a stop of activities for renewable activities in Spain for 1 year. So, and we still pay some salaries. We are devoted to innovation, local markets, flexibility, and energy communities. We are also dealing with energy efficiency, and but especially reducing the emissions of industrial and local administration. And finally, we are promoting small generation PV parks, always open to citizen participation. Bottom left for us is very relevant. We are under the audit process for getting the B Corp certification. B Corp, for if anyone doesn't know, it says that your company delivers positive inputs for the society. So we are really satisfied with this, getting this certification. Julio Cortázar is a writer born in Belgium, but all his life in Argentina, and he has some great books, and one of them, short writing, is these instructions to climb a ladder. Huh? I'm sure that if you would have to climb a ladder right now, you will be very happy having some instructions. So how to start, how to go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, but it's probably not clear. Sorry, let me focus. Now it's okay. Now you can really read those such instructions. We have an international audience, so maybe one can. Let me say that the citizen, the consumer, when we talk about energy communities or this kind of transformation, is not a stakeholder. Anyone around is a stakeholder. The citizen is the center. And we are talking a language that the citizen is not able to understand. Let me say that there's a survey that says that only 5% of the Europeans understand kilowatt hour. So the relationship between any kind of electrical activity with a citizen is in the wrong language. Huh? So imagine that 1 liter is not clear to anyone. Selling and buying liters of something, any one of both could be a liter if there was not a clear understanding of the meaning and the volume and the price of a liter of milk. So how is possible that we are in an electrical market where only the seller knows the units, the magnitudes? So the problem, the issue, has to do with the dialogue or the capacity of having a dialogue. I've been speaking for years and years in many places all around Europe about energy. Of course, when we, the ones of the electrical or energy world, we talk, we are happy to know each other. But when you talk to people, many times we have been more people presenting than the audience, because it's not interesting at all. Opposite to that, when now I'm a speaker for something talking about energy communities in a small town of 200 inhabitants, 1,000 inhabitants, the place is full. We are just like singers. For the first time talking about energy is attractive, it attracts people. And the best thing is that at the end of the presentation, there are hundreds of questions, because people really feels involved with something which the expression energy communities, you have a lot of expectation, but nobody knows what's behind, really behind. Huh? So it's impossible for a normal citizen to understand an invoice. The effort is unbelievable, so it doesn't pay. Huh? You need a lot of time to understand all this. Yes, kilowatt or kilowatt hour. What is power? What is energy? It's really a mess. Huh? And but now we have the possibility of us buying some self-consumption PV cells in the roof of the house. Little bit less time than understanding a kilowatt hour meaning, and joining an energy community, less time, and then the impact. If you understand the invoice and you react and you change your behavior and you do you wash your dishes at 3 a.m. and you iron at 4 a.m. Then you get some pennies at the end. But when you move to this kind of new activities, you really have relevant savings, let's say, something which accounts. You can save money to get 3 beers a month. It's really relevant compared to the effort and the quality of the savings and the level of the savings when you really make the effort of understanding the invoice. Right now, because I was told that we were going to talk about the experiences. Right now, we are in 95 municipalities in Catalonia, from 230 inhabitants to 150,000, and then we work in some neighborhoods. But not only led by municipality, which is really relevant to have the municipality review, but also with citizen based. It's really difficult. We are talking about leadership. The leadership of the municipality is clear. There's trust. But when you have private entities or groups of people or associations that wants to lead such a thing, it only happens when leadership is very clear and is recognized after years. Now we are talking, organizing something in the region, near to the Pyrenees, with very small towns. I'm living currently in my hometown. We are 6 inhabitants, so which means that we never ever will receive the benefits of energy communities or fiber optics. Impossible. So we decided to make the test of grouping 14 municipalities, the biggest with 5,000 inhabitants, and trying to implement some of these new activities. And I have to say that the experience after 95 towns is that people really goes for it. I mean, people is interested. It's easy. It's so easy that it's impossible to refuse it. So we think that this is the starting point of succeeding with something that the European Commission has been asking for years, which is put the citizens in the center of the energy transition. Energy communities are the facilitators for such an activity. So that's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Santi, and brilliant story. The breaker room with the Kilometer Zero Energy will be called indeed Our Citizen Ready. And we had a bit of a story from Thanasis and Harry before about a different way to support this bottom-up initiative. So please bear that in mind. I will give straight away the floor to Martin from Tartu, Estonia. And just a quick reminder for the next couple of presenters, if you can try to do your best to stick around 5 minutes so that we can go into the breaker room and open discussion as soon as we can. Thank you, Martin. The floor is yours.
I'm Martin from Tartu, and I really thank you for the last presenter. Good examples and good aspects that he brought out. My title for today is Reconstruction Can Bring Renewable Energy Communities to Life, but how to connect them to grid. But basically, you will see that a lot of our energy agencies activities are with the reconstruction and or around the reconstruction, and stakeholder involvement is very important. I mean, reconstruction is a real thing. Like for last year, average reconstruction cost per apartment building last year was about 2 million per building. So, and that's more than 10,000 for one apartment. So we need to engage them and need to find better ways. So about the agency, we are Tartu Regional Energy Agency. Like the name says, we are located in Tartu, but of course, at the moment we also have the office space in Tallinn, because we are the only energy agency in Estonia. We were established by City of Tartu and Tartu Science Park about 11 years ago to just provide expertise for City of Tartu and educate our citizens in reconstruction issues and aspects to help them to get also into renovation. Today we are providing services for municipalities all over the Estonia. We work with the Estonian islands and the capital city and so on, as well for the apartment associations all over the Estonia. But of course, as we need to visit the objects and everything, then we are mainly working in North Estonia, where is the capital Tallinn, and in South and Middle Estonia, that is our location, and between Tallinn and Tartu. We are also cooperating with ministries that are in the field, doing studies and researches with them or for them. And at the moment, most of our budget comes from EU projects. Our main topics are energy planning, energy planning mainly for municipalities, but also energy performance and energy planning in buildings as well. Street lighting, renewable energy systems in municipality scale or building or group of building scales. We are trying to bring together municipalities and the private sector, be something there between that helps that. Our topics are also energy communities and energy poverty. And I think these are the two topics that we are the forerunners in Estonia, because I think we introduced it in the first, or at least in the second organization that have done that. So as you already heard that from the beginning, this reconstruction has been our main thing. And what we are trying to do is to promote renovation, so benefits and on paper, basically, what are the outcomes. We have consolidated multiple apartment associations in Estonia, but also because of different projects, we have bring lots of innovative things that we can pilot and test in Estonia. For example, Smart City, when the renovation was one part of that big project, but still maybe most notable from Tartu city design at the moment, or at least in city center, 18 very old and not energy efficient buildings were renovated to nearly zero energy buildings. We have had one prefabricated insulation panels with integrated solar panels project that was first that also integrated solar panels. We have had one project before in Tallinn with Taltech that just used insulation panels, and now similar projects will be starting that involves different these kinds of integrations. And the TRIA is moving more to direction to offer one-stop kind of renovation service. At the moment, we are providing energy labeling, energy auditing, technical consultancy, construction supervision, design projects of energy simulation for design projects, and also PV panel design projects. In this side, we are trying to do the same thing that we are quite usually doing, but integrating more of energy communities and collective action aspects, and trying to, main thing is, beside of renovation, is to try to get a higher share of self-consumption, and that we are trying to achieve here mainly. This is the most maybe innovative compared with the last project. And we are dealing with our pilot and trying to get these buildings on board from Annelin. On the other hand, there is some regulation issues that are still missing from Estonia, and we are dealing with that as well. To reach some of the goals that we have, we need to work with the energy communities regulations development in Estonia. Energy communities are just mentioned, I would say defined just in our law now. There is no supportive framework developed. There is absolutely no benefits compared with any other organization form to produce renewable energy. Seems that managing authority sees interest to meet climate and renewable energy goals with energy community contribution, but on the other hand, we have the TSO that basically has the monopoly, and it's not the very fast forwarding. In upcoming regulations as well, like I said, TSO is strong. This cooperation with energy communities is in very general way. It is said in regulation, but it's not mentioned in any details, but actually TSO should do. In Estonia, maybe in some other countries it is possible. I know that it is. Virtual metering it's not possible, but on the other hand, distribution inside of the one building, if you have solar panels on the roof, is possible, and we are trying to achieve that one building higher share of self-consumption mainly. That because it's possible, but you need to really invest in electricity system and metering system. And TSO actually are quite easily saying that basically blocking the connection of your solar panels or renewable energy station, and you need to pay all of these costs that are needed for reconstruct substation. This is also one aspect that we want to talk about. And like I said, there is no supportive community energy framework. We hope that in at least this year it will be developed, and we see that maybe renewable energy ocean slot for energy communities, better TSO cooperation, maybe virtual metering, and also knowledge rising will be somehow there. So thank you for my quick presentation. At least I hope I did.
Thank you very much, Martin. It was actually brilliant, and I really enjoy how we now moved already to a different type of stakeholder engagement, if you like. Before, perhaps we talk more about some community level. Now we're talking about the regulators and a higher level of stakeholders. But also one of the things you touched that is a nice link to our next presenter is about the technical solution, renovating apartments, and these also type of intermediates. So without further ado, Stratos, I would invite you to share your screen. Brilliant, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. So today we're going to talk about how Domix delivers smart energy services through cost-effective heating controllers. So our work starts with the fact that in EU, buildings account for 40% of the total energy consumption, and 75% of them are energy inefficient. So in order to tackle this, at Domix, we develop cost-effective and universal retrofitting solutions for legacy building systems. The output of our solutions is that we improve the energy efficiency, we offer advanced energy management, and in the end, we deliver targeted services for connected businesses. So what are the advantages that our solutions offers is that we provide joint monitoring and controls across energy vectors. We offer a wide and verified compatibility with legacy building systems, and we enable our connected partners to manage their portfolio at scale. So our solutions, they have a broad range, but in this presentation, we will focus on how we transform legacy heating. So in the legacy heating scenario, the end user interacts with their room thermostat, and the room thermostat has the full control of the heating procedure. We change this by introducing our heating controller that is placed in between the thermostat and the heater, and we just consider input from the thermostat and take full control of the heating process by managing the boiler output. And our solution offers also a Wi-Fi interface, and based on this, the device connects to our cloud services and also connects through the smartphone application with the end user. But how do we engage with stakeholders? For the moment, the two types of currently engaged stakeholders include end consumers and business partners. Our connected stakeholders are interested to receive targeted information about the benefits that our solution is able to offer. So this kind of information includes the usage of heating, the energy that is consumed, the comfort that the end user achieves, faults on the boiler operation, and the ability to manage the service of their heating device. The data are communicated through user interfaces. We have two types of interfaces: the smartphone application, which is focused on end consumers, and the energy management dashboard that is customized for the needs of different connected businesses. So for the moment, within this side, we have managed to engage more than 50 natural gas consumers across 5 cities in Greece, and we are currently monitoring their interactions with the system. Just to get into some more details, so what our services look like for end consumers. So we offer remote heating control, energy efficient scheduling of the heating, improved climate comfort, and scheduling of the annual boiler service. And how do we provide feedback to end users? Through the smartphone application, as we said, we have several means of visualizing the energy that is consumed, of delivering personalized reports on the energy savings that have been achieved. And finally, we are currently building a tool for comparing the performance across peers with similar characteristics. Related with our business collaborations, we focus on 3 types of different stakeholders, namely energy suppliers, technical service and installation companies, and building managers. And for them, we deliver different types of services, all managed and visualized through the energy management dashboard that provides in the connected portfolio management for all these connected businesses that have a lot of consumers under their network. And the idea that we are pursuing through Decide is that we are trying to move this to collective actions. So we identified ways to engage with more types of stakeholders. And currently we focus on blocks of residential buildings, municipalities, and citizen energy communities. So how did we get into contact with them? We tried to directly reach out to them. So we focused on administrators or companies that are managing residential buildings, or managers or specific departments that are in charge of, let's say, controlling the operation of public buildings. The second direction is that we identified alignments with national initiatives. First, focusing on the autonomy of homes. There is an ongoing national initiative that is destined to residential buildings. And second, another one that is also ongoing that focuses on the energy upgrade of public buildings. And of course, we already identified regulatory barriers that we are, let's say, trying to discuss with them and try to find ways to tackle them. So first, the fact that municipalities cannot subsidize the equipment cost for citizens, but only for public buildings. And a similar issue with energy communities, that they cannot fund the cost for individual members, but only cost for collective, let's say, acquired equipment. That is all from us. Thank you.
Sorry, perfect. Thank you. I just, okay. Thank you very much, Stratos. It's brilliant. I'll just share my screen and then perhaps pass it to Jill again. But just to have a quick reminder of then what we're going to talk about in these breakout rooms. As Stratos mentioned, this link with different types of stakeholders, from business intermediate to municipality to citizen, on smart devices and cost-effective solutions. Martin showed us how deep they go into the relationship with the regulators and to discuss technical issues. So I'm sure that if you're involved in any initiatives and want to kind of have that kind of cross-country comparison, that might be a good one for you. Santi presenting the relationship that they have with neighborhood and communities and citizens that come together to talk about energy. And then Heron and Thanasis, who showed us the utility point of view and how that sorts of relationship can boost their project. So Jill, back to you, and hopefully the breaker should be ready to be launched.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Matteo, and thank you obviously to those four fantastic presentations and presenters. Everybody sharing their own recipes for their projects and their associated different ways of engaging different stakeholders to support those. And thanks for being clear and concise. So we've got time now for this interactive exchange in smaller groups. As Matteo says, we'll have those 4 groups, 4 breakout rooms, which are related to those 4 different projects. And to start with, you will find yourself randomly allocated to a group, and that's so that we can get a roughly equal distribution per group. However, once you're in the group, you've participated for a little while, it's possible for you to move to another group if you feel like your interest is somewhere else, or you've got what you need out of that group already. Okay, so just select the name of the breakout room that you'd like to move to and move there. Just please, if you could keep a little bit of an eye on the numbers of people in a room when you move to it, and maybe if you see that there's already, let's say, 12 people in there, maybe just wait a while until some space frees up. Okay, there's going to be one moderator on one of the 4 presenters that you've just seen in each room, and this is really the opportunity for you to share your relevant experience for the benefit of others and to ask those questions which had to be keeping an eye on that counter in the top right-hand corner to know whether what was going to happen next. So, you know, so I'm sure that for many of the groups, it was probably cut in the middle of a sentence. I know it certainly was in our group. You know, I would encourage you, you know, keep connecting with each other, keep connecting with us. As a Decide project, you know, we've shared with you some of those different ways that you can keep in touch, possibly even sign up for becoming a replicant yourself, if that is of interest for you. I see we've still got 4 minutes left. If we can, it would just be super to hear 1 or 2 highlights or what was really interesting takeouts out of those sessions. Maybe I could ask first, well, I'll just open it up and see if anybody wants to already say anything. I just go to a gallery view and then I can see everybody. I see most people don't have their cameras on. Was there any questions or something that you would like to share out of that discussion that you had?
Maybe I can start, as I seem to be talking a lot today. Well, I think we had a very lively discussion, and I would like to thank Santi for that, because there is a lot of experience coming from Spain and from their initiative. The two main things that we discussed there in our group is, on one hand, how do you reach to different people, which was the main topic of today. And that's what we learned from Santi, is that in smaller communities, it is much easier because you go for the support of the municipality, and municipality is somebody that people trust. Having a mayor from the municipality on your side, and then talking about what can be done about the energy topic, is something that has worked for them, and is something that has pushed people to participate in these. Of course, there is a benefit to participating in a community energy initiative. And then another thing that we just started discussing, and we could discuss for some time there, and that's also how do you reach out to different, let's say, group of people, which is neighborhoods in cities where you have less of that community feeling. Also specifically maybe in the social housing, where people are maybe have different issues and are less interested to discuss these things. And that's another topic that I don't think we have an answer for right now, but it's also a topic that the Decide is trying to tackle, and that I'm hoping that we'll have some suggestions for in the coming months.
Okay, thanks very much, Lucia. And certainly also in our group as well, with Stratos and Domex in that group, we were also talking about the links in with the municipalities and the different approaches to linking with municipalities, ones that may be fully up to speed and knowledgeable, or other ones that might be more traditional and inflexible. And sometimes through that engagement process, realizing, okay, really who is flexible, who is open, and being surprised sometimes by what you find out there, positively and negatively, through that process. Stratos, is there anything you'd like to add from the discussions that came out of our group, or anybody else that was in the group?
Jill, I think this is the clear message that we all agree on, that sometimes you get surprised from the response that you get from the types of stakeholders that you try to engage with.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we could hear from, we're still just before we close out, would like to hear from the other two groups very shortly.
I'm happy to speak on behalf of the group that was having Martin and the experience as, let's say, title provider. And I think that the main question that was also the question where we close up the meeting was really how to reach out to citizens, how to make sure that the information are clear and that they really understand what is the opportunity for them to grab. Martin in the shared a few tips, or at least the experience that he gained through these years to convince a few people that they can then on behalf of the initiative turn back to the peers, to the colleagues, and try to kind of translate to the other citizens what does it mean. So one thing that they've been doing is really to identify those entry points somehow, and then also to go and visit on site and really kind of show with them together what do they intend by renovation, for example. Just two of the main highlights, but really interesting one.
Super. Thank you very much, Sylvia and Martin and everybody involved in that discussion. I think there's maybe one more group we haven't yet heard from. Thanasis or Matteo, would either of you like to give a couple of top lines from the discussion in the Heron breakout group?
Will you go, Thanasis, or?
I can leave that to you, Matteo.
So it was it took some time to kick off the conversation, but I think the main topic that was discussed is the role of energy in general in the just transition. I think that's the word that was brought by Sofia from Bulgaria. And the role of utilities and the role of energy community potentially, and all of that. How does it play out really in that transition?
Wow.
But,
So certainly probably not 25 minutes was probably not enough to get to the bottom of that question, I imagine. So thank you.
I appreciate that, but I'll just take the opportunity from the chat. There is some requests for the links and the resources and perhaps the presentation if the presenters are happy. So I don't know, and maybe I'm looking at Sylvia, if we can just send out everything with a sort of follow-up summary of what has been discussed. And if the presenters are okay, we can perhaps share your resources as well.
Right.
Indeed.
That's super. All right. So I guess on behalf of the project team at the site, huge big thank you to you all for being here. I hope you found it very useful. I've certainly enjoyed it. I hope you've learned. I hope you're able to share your experience so that others can learn from you. And please keep in touch with the Decide project. There's a lot of opportunities here. Objective on scaling up and replication. So whatever role you could see for yourself within that, please keep in touch. We have all of those information links on the side, and that will be all summarized for you later. So many thanks, and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, whether you're in the snow in Greece or maybe somewhere further south where there's some sun, or in different parts of Europe where there is some sun. Thank you very much. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you all.
Bye, too. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.